This is live streaming via Skype connection, also live YouTube streaming, and also live Facebook streaming. Synthesis of love and meditation. Synthesis of love and meditation. Synthesis cannot be forced into. It is a spontaneous phenomenon, happens on its own. There is no way that you can make an effort for synthesis. You have to simply follow the path, and then as you are following the path, as the flowering, as the benediction, synthesis happens between the two opposite happenings. Although love and meditation are two sides of the same coin, but their journey is different. To some, love is natural and spontaneous, while to others, meditation is the easiest way. Besides this, there are other questions. Questions about making a synthesis of love and meditation. It's not like two separate items that you can put in your blender and make a smoothie, or you can grind these together. They are the subtle. Both love and meditation. You have not seen love. It is unknown but realized truth. It happens within the deep recess. It is the power within, and meditation, you cannot see it. In a certain state, you can see its manifestation, you can see its fragrance when it starts spreading first within you, then it begins to spread around you, and others feel that there is something. In the process, whether you follow the path of love or meditation, you come to know your own center. You realize that the center within is the only authentic one. It is the master. Before that, you were considering yourself to be the master, which is erroneous. That center is the master. It does not need anything from you. Only thing is, you have forgotten how to flow with it. The moment you start flowing with it, miracles begin to happen. Many other questions are there, questions about how to make a synthesis. Synthesis is not like a concoction between love and meditation, or the concoction or the making a synthesis of head and heart, of thoughts and feelings. Because many people will like to move on both the ways simultaneously together as a process. Synthesis comes, but you cannot make it. If you follow the path of meditation, certainly one day you will realize, as the flowering of meditation, a spark of love had blossomed in you, the flower has blossomed in you, and now you are overwhelmed by its beauty and the fragrance. Your gestures, everything will be soaked in that fragrance. When you speak, when your hands move, or you compose something, it has a different fragrance. You do not have to make any effort, but it happens spontaneously. And if, on the contrary, you are following the path of love, you will realize that something has born out of you. Meditation is the consequence. Synthesis comes. But you have to begin the journey from one side. If I say love and meditation are two sides of the same coin, you take the coin, there are two sides. If the coin was in the form of a cylindrical cave, you move from the one end of that is the door of love, the other is the door of meditation. When you start from the side of love, you are going through the channel. Somewhere along the process, a point comes where the two bridge one another, and you continue to travel through the channel, through that cave, and when you come out of the other door, other and exit, because for you that will be an exit, whereas you will find the others are also entering from that side. It is an entrance for them, where for you it is the exit, because you have completed your journey and you are coming out, soaked in the fragrance of meditation. The one who is beginning his journey from the side of meditation, using that entrance, he will reach to the other end, which was entrance for you, and now for him it will be an exit. When he comes out, he will be totally soaked in love. You have to begin the journey from one side, but somewhere in an infinite realm, unknown realm, which is not visible, which cannot be explained, where love and meditation overlap. But that happens in that cave. You have to follow one, continue your journey, and then you will realize that the other has happened to you naturally. Synthesis comes, but you have to follow one path. If you try to follow two paths both simultaneously, there will be tremendous confusion. And this is what happens to most of the people when they enter in the path of meditation or love. They are not able to keep their feet in one boat. Instead, they want to have their feet in two boats. In that they are bound to, and if by any chance with the breeze or the current the boat drifts, you will fall flat because your one foot is in one boat and the other in the next. There is nowhere that you can support yourself. If you can hold on to somebody's hand, then it is the only possibility your feet can be in the two boats and you will maintain the balance. The one whose hand you are holding, he will let you lean towards love at times. When tremendous love flows within you, remember, love flows within you, and you will feel its waves arising in you, and at the same time something else begins to happen. Whatsoever be the case, but synthesis comes at the end on its own accord. So there is no way that you have to be worried about it. Your worry will not help you. It is always so. If meditation attains fruition, love is bound to happen. That fountain of bliss you have discovered. If love does not happen, that simply means meditation has not happened yet, or something else you are calling as meditation. Meditation is not something of your doing. Instead, it is a happening. It is a state of being. If love blossoms, meditation will happen as a shadow. If meditation has not happened as the shadow of love, then your love is not real. It has something else embedded in it. If it has not happened yet, you may be thinking about it, but you have not moved into the world of love. Love with trust grows. It is a journey into an unknown, an unknowable realm. You do not know what is going to happen. Love happens to those who are courageous. It is power within. Sometimes, once in a lifetime, you come in the company of someone and your life begins to transform miraculously. You do not know why this is happening, but it begins to happen. This happens once in lifetime. It is a journey into an unknown and unknowable realm. You have not known it before. You can be in it, but you will never come to know it. So there is no need to be worried in any way about synthesis. You cannot make it, and your very effort of making it will make it impossible to attain. It is not for you to worry about it. Follow one whichever feels closer to you or appeals to you. When you feel both seem to be almost 50-50, that you find both are happening to you naturally, then Zen is your way. Because a person who cannot decide, is not a man of heart. Instead, his energy naturally goes to the mind, although you may say, I am a very loving person. The moment you are not able to make a decision, you belong to the mind. If it is heart, heart is always decisive. It is ready to jump in the unknown. Maybe there is a particular Sufi story of Mawjood. He was a man of tremendous understanding and education. He started his life as a clerk in the government. One day it happened, the mysterious friend of the seekers, Khizr alayhi salam, appeared to him and he said, leave this job. First, when he meets him, he says, come and meet me behind somewhere a lonely place. Mawjood had never met this person before. Doubts were there naturally in his mind. Who is this person? Why is he asking me to meet in a lonely place in the darkness of the night? What he is going to do to me? Mind thinks. And if Mawjood was feminine, many other questions will come. This man is a man and I am a female. What will happen if I listen to him and meet him? But he goes there. He said, leave your job and jump in the river. Maybe someone may save you. And Mawjood, without leaves his job and jumps into the stream. This is the approach of the heart. When you feel both seem to be 50%, you are moving towards the heart and 50% towards the mind, then Zen is your way, because a man who cannot decide, he does not belong to the heart. He belongs to the mind instead. If it is heart, it is always decisive. Have you ever fallen in love with two women together or two men together 50-50? 50% you love this person and 50% you love the other. If you fall that way, then one thing is certain. It is not love in any way. If you have fallen 50% in love with this person and 50% in love with the other person, one thing is certain. it is not love. There may be other considerations. Love is not a consideration at all. Love, if love becomes a consideration, then immediately you choose one. In that case, there will be no problem. So if you have a problem to decide, then if it is decided, either you are mind type or that of the heart type. If you are mind type, follow Zen. If you can decide, then good. If you cannot decide, then take it for granted that the very doubt, the indecisiveness shows that you are of the mind type. Thinking, doubting, analyzing, and thinking about pros and cons, and the rest of your life is spent in analyzing, doubting, thinking about the pros and cons, then your greed says, is there not a way to make a compromise of the two? The mind thinks, is there not a way to make a compromise of the two? Remember, compromise cannot be synthesis. It cannot lead to synthesis. Compromise is dead. Dead thing. Synthesis is organic unity. I say organic unity. You can make a compromise, and that is what we do all around. Marriage is a compromise between the two. We compromise in various situations. Synthesis is organic unity. You can make a compromise, but through compromise nobody has ever grown. You cannot make a synthesis, it comes on its own as a spontaneous happening. You start growing on one path because both the paths follow a different device. It's like two people are living in different areas in the same city. They have one destination where they have to reach. They will use their own vehicles. The route that they will follow will also be different, but the destination is the same. The vehicles may be different, the drivers may be different. This refers to the process that you use to reach to the destination. You start growing on one path because both paths use different devices. You are coming from the north and somebody else coming from south. The paths, the routes are different, and whatsoever happens, you see on the route will differ from one another. The scenery, the pointers, and all this will differ. The distance may be different as well. The both routes, both paths are diametrically opposite to one another. If you try to make a compromise, can you say that the two people who are traveling from different places can make a compromise? Maybe you reach to a point which is the confluence. Just as in certain places there is a main terminal, like for instance in the city of Boston, there is a central station from where trains run in all the directions. You may be coming from any direction, the outskirt of the city, Walpole or Fenningham or anywhere else. You reach to the central station. From there you reach, because you are coming from Walpole, you reach to the central station. The other is coming from Framingham. He also reaches the central station. Both of you meet. In that case, it may be possible. But your journey from Walpole to Central or Framingham to Central is different and separate. You cannot mix the two together. There is no way. It will be impossible because one starts from south, the other starts from north. Two different directions. So one leg will be going to south and another will be going to north. I have heard a joke. You know these Sikhs with turban headed. They were going from one city to another. One was going from New York to DC, and the other was going from DC to New York. It happened, the one that was going from New York to DC, the train stopped at a particular place that was in between. So he inquired from someone how long the train will stay at this place. The man used the Hindi word. He said Aadh ghante. Adha means half. Half an hour the train will stay here. But his, Punjabis with their turban on their head, his ears were covered. So he thought it was, he said 8 hours. Adh and Art. Art means 8 and Adh means half. So he said, this is wonderful. You know that at these train stations the food is not authentic and it is very expensive. But he knew that there was a nearby Sikh temple and it was the time for Sikh langar, when after the prayer they offer the meals. So he said, I have 8 hours. I can go and visit the town, have the free meals in the temple and come back for the train. So he was traveling from New York to DC. So he went, visited the city, places that was nearby, went to the Sikh temple, have free meals. He returned and he sat down on his appointed seat. Also there was, in the process it happened, the train that was going from New York to DC had left. And in place of that, the train that was going from DC to New York was on the platform. He entered in the train without knowing that that train is going from DC to New York. His destination was DC, but now the train that is there, it is heading towards New York. He sat down in that train comfortably. He found that he had more room. He thought probably the people had hopped out of the train. There was another Punjabi was sitting on the top bench. So they started talking. When you are alone by yourself, you are alone. When you meet someone who belong to your views or your city, or there is some kind of familiarity between the two, you start talking. So he said, "Where are you going?" The person on the top bench was sitting. He also came down. So both of them sitting next to one another. He said, "I am going to New York." The other said, "I am going to DC." So two of them said, "Oh, what advancement. Science has made so much of progress. The top berth is going to New York and the bottom berth is going to DC. Two people going in different directions are sitting in the same train saying, 'Oh, what a miracle. The top berth is going to New York and the bottom berth is going to DC.' So you do not create such situation for you. It will be impossible because one is coming from south, from DC, the other is coming from and going to New York, the other one is coming from New York and going to DC. You will not be able to reach, you will be divided and split. In making the compromise, you will become schizophrenic. That is how the human mind has become schizophrenic and split. Do not bother about compromise. It always comes. Those who have attained through Zazen, Zazen is the Zen name for meditation. Those who have attained through Zazen have attained to the same love as those who have reached through devotion or love. Devotion is the flowering in love. It begins with love, then it flowers into devotion. A man, a Christian, came with the Bible to a Zen master and started reading the Sermon on the Mount. After a few lines, the master said, "Stop. There is no need to continue. Whatsoever you are saying, these are the words of a Buddha. But in Christian terminology, the word Buddha does not exist because they have known the outer dimension of a Buddha. His garb may be different, but he have not known the innerness of an awakened one. The innerness of all the awakened ones remains the same. The words may be different, their outer appearance may be different, but the essence remains the same. From the outer appearance, you cannot know the essence. Appearances belong to the outer realm and essence belong to the inner. And transformation happens only when you are connected to the inner essence. The Zen master had never known anything about Bible. He had never heard anything about Jesus, and he used to live in a faraway cave, completely out of the society, away from the society, away from the din and bustle, away from the din and bustle of the society and the active life. But he had known the essence. He said, no need to read it anymore. These are the words of a Buddha, because Buddha is the word who is awakened, who has attained. Even one sentence is enough. It has the taste of the ocean. You take a drop, it has the taste of the ocean. From wherever, whichever corner you take it out, it has the taste of the ocean. There is a proper blending. It has the taste of the ocean. Whosoever has said this is a Buddha. Indeed, he is enlightened. If you ask a Buddha, he will say Mira is enlightened, Chaitanya is enlightened. If you ask Mira and Chaitanya, he will say Buddha is enlightened, Bodhidharma is enlightened, Lao Tse is enlightened, Jesus is enlightened. Let me put it this way. If you follow love, devotion and surrender, without surrender, first love springs in you, it attains the form of devotion, and as a process surrender happens, you are ready to enter into unknown and unknowable realm. You say to yourself, you have gone through so much, so many times you have been deceived, but I am still there. I am not going to hold on to me anything. When it is said surrender, what are you surrendering? There remains a misconception. And specifically, if you are a feminine being and the master is male, surrender is your greed, surrender your fear, surrender your jealousy, surrender your mind. Not your wealth, not your body, your mind, your fear, your doubts. That's what you have to surrender. Then one day you will suddenly find meditation has happened. If you follow meditation, one day you will find the beloved has come. He has knocked at the door, and there is no fear in you to open the door. It may be the middle of the night, it may be any time, but it is there you are not afraid. Normally, all those people who have fear, the fear grips them. When there is loneliness, when the television shows have finished, there is silence all around, everyone has fallen into sleep, fear grips you. So those who have the problem of sleep, they cannot sleep in the night. When it is a daybreak, that's the time they fall into sleep and sleep until late. The sleep has its pattern, and that disturbs your rhythm. If you wake up in a particular with the rhythm, the body moves in cycles of 2 hours. 9 to 11, 11 to 1, 1 to 2, 1 to 2, 2 to 4. And if that sleep pattern is disturbed because you have not known, you have to know your sleep patterns and then create the sleep patterns. It is said that if you drink coffee or tea, you cannot fall asleep. Right? Many of you say so. Last night, around 12 o'clock, I wake up. And then I was waiting for the cricket match to start. So I decided to make a cup of tea. That hour I had tea. When I finished the tea, and as I put my head on the pillow, probably that very moment I was fast asleep. Because my sleep is not disturbed by light or darkness, by tea or anything, because tea does not change the inner configuration as it is said. So I take tea before going to sleep. Whichever path you follow, synthesis comes on its own spontaneously and naturally. But you have to start your journey from one side, assiduously follow the path, religiously follow that path. When you are coming from your side, try to remember that all these are the signs that you see on the way when you are coming from your home to the place where you have to reach. So you can give the indicators to person that these are the landmarks from when you are coming from south, and these are the landmarks when you are coming from north. Paths are different. Destination is the same. And then one day you realize that you have attained. There is nothing more beautiful, nothing more blissful than this when synthesis happens naturally and spontaneously. Only this much for this morning. Until tomorrow, take care and do have a blissful moment.